At this time, we're joined by Sporting Kansas City interim head coach Kerry Zavagnin. First question will go to Daniel Sperry with the Kansas City Star.
Kerry, that's a big comeback. That one has to feel good. Just what did you say to the guys going into the second half, and how do you feel that they kind of persevered, especially to get all the way through deep into that stoppage time and get those 2 goals?
We'd made 2 adjustments at halftime. We saw something towards the end of the first half and dropping Bart into the back line, coming out with 3, and we felt like we were getting a little bit more in a vertical game. After a slow start, to be honest with you, it was really tentative, passive, and we just didn't come out of the gates in a strong way. So we made a few that adjustment, and then we went a little bit tighter in the second half in a more man-orientated way, and that turned the ball over further up the field. And so those 2 instructions were really what was said at halftime. But I think more than anything else, I asked of them what they've been giving me every day, every week, every game, and that is don't ever give up. Persevere through the adversity, which you know you're going to have. And it looked like for a little while that it was going to be one of those summer days. And as I say, I'm not surprised that they came back at the end, because this is a special group that just doesn't give up.
We've seen that throughout this year. I mean, there's been the comeback against Minnesota, the one against St. Louis on the road, even down 1-0, finding wins against Houston on the road. What does it say to you for the team to get them win in this manner too? Because I think, like, after Shalloway's big chance, there wasn't a whole lot of chances that you guys created until those 2 goals.
Yeah, look, we made a few changes, and we started putting on more attacking players. Credit to John Poole's camp. It goes relatively unnoticed because of the 2 great goals at the end, but he really kept us in the game. We really exposed ourselves in the back, but like all the games, we don't stop and we go to the end, and if we're behind, we're going to put as many attacking players as we can on the field. So the continuity of that, we sacrificed, right? The organization sacrificed, but in terms of the determination, the intention, and the drive to persevere through, won the day for us.
And just one last one. Santi gets an assist there, but he had a couple of chances. He gets a goal the last game he was in. What have you seen from him, and just his ability in and around the box to help create some of those opportunities?
Yeah, each and every game, what everyone gets to see on the weekend, we see during the course of the week. So these aren't special performances. This is his norm. He's clever with the ball, clever in tight spaces, can create his own shot, and certainly when we brought him onto the game, wanted him to operate closer to Decky and Manu, and when you put those 3 together, good things happen. And so for a while now, I've been thinking in different ways about bringing them all into the game from the beginning, and time will tell if we're able to do that.
And then Manu Garcia had the passes that set up both the goals tonight. Maybe from a deeper lying position than we're used to seeing him. Can you kind of talk about his contributions to the team and what he's bringing out there?
Yeah, I think typically we would find over the course of the 90 minutes that the best combinations or the best creations come from Manu closer to Decky. Completely flipping the script tonight, bringing Bart into the back line, and now breaking their 2 forwards with Manu spaced through the middle. That was the solution. That was the solution for the game that we thought would give us the best opportunity to be more vertical in the game. So we did that, and he created from those positions. And what's special about Manu, right? He gets hit an awful lot. He's not a well-protected player in our league, despite the fact that he's a special number 10. So he fights through it. He got hit in the face again tonight, and so I think that speaks a lot to his mentality and his courage for fighting through getting hit time and time again. But to play make from that position also shows his versatility.
And then the midfield was a little different tonight. We haven't seen Eric Tommy next to Manu Garcia yet. What made you decide to go with that tactic tonight against Charlotte?
Yeah, it was a combination of a few things, managing the guys over the course of 90 minutes. We thought using our full capabilities within the substitutions, we thought the sequencing would be best there. We also knew Eric's been playing extremely well, so has Shoppy, and so has Daniel. So I wanted to get attacking players on the field. We're at home, and we wanted to drive the game. I didn't think, as I said, I don't think from the beginning we were able to be vertical enough for them to have significant impacts. So made a few changes, brought Manu a little bit further back, and then we started getting more of the game.
Kerry, there were some moments in that second half where things got a little chippy and it could have gone sideways. So especially for a team with as many young players as are playing, can you speak to their ability to stay focused and not let that extracurricular stuff impact their ability to finish the game?
Well, for being young players, they have an awful lot of maturity, and they're gaining it by the game. The amount of minutes that these guys have played is going to benefit us for the course of the year, but also for the course of many years. So that's a very good sign in terms of how they've handled themselves mentally in those moments facing adversity. And you can see it on their faces that they have the determination to win and be successful. And that's a special core group of players.
Hey, Kerry, Carlos Chica de nuestra edición. The right subs at the right time, and what a way to show resilience.
I think when you have a lot of players that are performing well in training and they're earning their right to play, it gives you a lot of confidence to look down the bench and feel good that these guys are getting their opportunities. And so it's a two-way street, right? You can make these tactical changes and you think that you can outsmart the other team, but the players have to go out there and perform. And I'm fortunate enough to have guys that are really hungry to be out on the field. And the attacking players, Mason Toye is a great example of someone that for a number of weeks wasn't in the 20-man roster and kept punching his way over the course of trainings. He was always behind, Decky, Munoz, and kind of the odd man out. And he's kept fighting, he's kept pushing. He's been scoring goals in training. And so like the effort of the players, I'm not surprised Mason scored tonight. And all the credit goes to him and all the other subs that have made an impact over the course of not just this game, but multiple games. They're ready to go and they're ready to contribute. So.
You mentioned Santi and his attributions to the game. How far away are we from seeing Santi being in the starter 11?
I think everyone can see that we don't have a drop-off when he comes in the game. So the competition to be on the first 11 is very, very high. The speed in which he's integrated himself to the league and especially our team has been very, very quick. And so he's knocking on the door. And so I would expect him to play a massive role in the second part of this season.
Kerry, you talked about Tommy in the midfield. The other kind of variation in the lineup was Davis at right back. What was the thinking there? What qualities did Davis have that would fit well?
Well, Jake has played the position a number of times, despite the fact that it's not his natural position. Shelton was out with yellow cards. Brody was battling a little bit of a knock that he had in training, kept him on the bench just in the case of an emergency situation. But I thought Jake did a really admirable job, especially against a very good opponent in Zaha. So we wanted him to, in the beginning of the game, play more through the midfield, coming out with three, maybe dropping Bart in the line and have him come through the midfield. But in the second half, when we started going in a very high press, man-orientated way, you could see Jake's spirit and attitude in closing the ball down, getting forward, getting a lot of crosses in, and I think he had an outstanding game.
Yeah, and Jacob Bartlett got pretty physical with Zaha there in the second half. Is that something you've been working with Bartlett on as far as when to be that physical in the right spots?
I don't need to work on with Bartlett's intensity, commitment, or determination.
Yeah.
In fact, if there's anything, it's about pulling him just slightly back. But that comes with the maturity of the player and understanding how and when and where to make the confrontations. But he sticks up for his team, his teammates, and for the club. And for a player of that age that not long ago was just playing at the University of Notre Dame, he's come an awful long way.
Yeah, unfortunately, the goal allowed kind of started with a giveaway of his in the midfield. Is that something you afterwards say, hey, let's look at doing this next time, or how do you handle that situation?
There's certain positional things, but I don't need to tell a guy when he's giving the ball away and they've scored a goal. And certainly you don't have to show the video where it cements the point. Those are the simple ones that players understand. It's more about the understanding of where his positioning is, some of his decision-making within the course of the game, but you also have to let players make mistakes. And a 19-year-old that makes mistakes, gives the ball away, he's hard enough on himself, for me to add to that.
Kerry, congratulations on the dramatic win. I just want to ask, coming into kind of an unusual situation with a homestand coming up, how much does this type of comeback win help lift you guys into the holiday weekend and this 4 out of 5 game homestand?
Well, look, I've been talking with the group about staying in the moment, right? And giving your best each and every day. And we're going to measure progress based on performance. And we know what business we're in. We need to win games. And so you need to realize some of the fruits of your labor over the course of games, and certainly the homestand that you mentioned. But these guys have proven, whether we go home or away, that we're not afraid of the environment. And so it does help over the course of these next two games to bring the momentum into the weekend, because it's a very quick turnaround. I'm most happy for the fans, the stadium, our club, our owners, our players. That's what really brings even a heightened level of energy, which is unique, which is what you need.
Dayon, I know maybe a couple of times could have been found there in the first half, but it comes up big there. He's come up big for you a lot this year. I think, like I said a couple of weeks ago, every single goal of his seems to either tie the game or take the lead for you. He wasn't in the All-Star team that was announced this week or earlier today. Just your thoughts on maybe him not getting the recognition?
Dayon is an all-star center forward. He gave an all-star performance and gave us a goal in an all-star moment. And so there's nothing about him that I would say is anything but. Fully deserving. The way he's come into our team after a great year, winning an MLS Cup. Some players would have the tendency to kind of live off of last year, and he's done the exact opposite. And so he's been a tremendous impact within our team, fully deserving of an all-star selection, and we saw it again tonight.
And then with his hamstring injury, I think that brought him off there. You brought in Ian James. I know 16-year-old in that moment. He had some pretty quick defensive actions that he needed to make too to close that game out. How did you feel about Ian's play in that moment?
Well, I think it was such a reaction for him and an instinctive moment that he didn't have time to think about what was happening. And so he used his natural instincts of being incredibly athletic, his duel on the side of going through the ball, in which a lot of players might pull out in that moment, shows a lot of potential in a very young kid in a tough moment in which Charlotte is coming down, and he accounted himself extremely well. And he's another one of those young players that we're incredibly high on.
We've got one question submitted on Zoom from Walfrey Rodas with La Semana. The question is there anything that you would have done differently in the game tonight?
Maybe I would have had a different enthusiasm to my pregame talk, because we showed up awfully flat. That's something you reflect on. But in terms of the message overall to the group, not just tonight, but over the course of many, many days, came to fruition tonight. So we don't look into the past now. Now we look to the future, and so we're awfully happy with the result.